the last decade, I know that e-commerce has actually taken the world by storm. And this is especially true during the COVID-19 times. And that's when everyone tend to, stay at home, watch shows virtually, Netflix, order takeout, and pretty much buy everything online. How can e-commerce change society and help a traditional business grow to the new next level? Now, we have invited two speakers who would provide insights on e-commerce that's here in Hong Kong. And first, can I please introduce our moderator for this session, Zela Chin. She's an award-winning journalist. Now, just a little bit about Zela. She is the principal reporter for the weekly primetime documentary program, Pearl Magazine, that is on TBB. So I'm sure a lot of our audiences are your fans. So say hi. Thank you. And also, she started her career at CNN headquarters in the US and later joined CNN, that is here in Hong Kong, to produce Talk Asia. Thank you so much, Zela, for hosting this session for us. Very exciting to have you coming in. And also, we are very honored to have two important guests with us today. Next to her, we have Jennifer Tam, director of Chicks. Now, anyone from Hong Kong knows about this brand and have grown up with Chicks, which has been with Hong Kong for a very long time. A Hong Kong retail institution for 67 years. Wow. Jennifer is a fourth generation running the family business and is a young creator with a vision. Jennifer will share her views on how they integrated innovation into that family business. And we also have with us Joe Wong, co-founder of Goals, who left the corporate world and founded his own startup, Goals, which is focused on bringing logistics in Hong Kong to the next level. So without further ado, I will hand it over to all of you, and thank you again, Zela.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for this afternoon panel, The Changing Face of Commerce. So since this is a startup conference, we are actually going to start with the startup founder. So Joe, tell me, why did you start your company 5 years ago?
Really, it was just, couldn't think of what to do. No, a little bit about my background. We started my career in investment banking and finance, actually. So a lot of people actually ask me that know a little bit about me anyway, ask, how would you give up that corner office or the life in the business district for the warehouse or industrial type of environment? And one of the things that about logistics in general is that it's one of the things that I've always found is the backbone to everything. If you think about any business, any service industry, anything, logistics is the one thing that everyone struggles with or doesn't want to deal with, etc. And one of the things, I guess, more a little about my personality or stuff, I like fixing things. I like thinking about problems, thinking about ways to solve them. And it's not always the same thing because every company, even till now, every client we deal with, from startup to corporate to multinational, they have a different set of problems they're dealing with. And the things that we see out in the market today, and rightly so, are trying to create the platform that solves the solution for all, if you would. And one of the things we've come out and done, I guess, hopefully somewhat differently, is that we actually look at the company, try to understand its real problems and pain points, and really figure out the custom solution that hopefully will make that business be able to reach the next level or thereafter.
So moving from the startup company, we're going to go to Jennifer of Chicks, who with your sister just started taking over the family business 4 months, in April, right?
Yes, exactly. Hello everyone, I'm Jen. So my sister and I came back to the family business 6 years ago. What's amazing thing is that we never thought that we'll be back in the family business. It's really from our passion and the bottom of our heart that we really like our brand. So we want to carry on this legacy forward. And then in April, we started a new role as the director and the change leader of Chicks. And it's a great honor that we can collaborate with Goals and really they solve our pain points.
Talk about how you and your sister actually trained for 6 years to do this.
Actually, we didn't have proper training. We really go through different departments. We tried different markets, a lot of up and downs, failures, learning. And the best thing is that we learned that trust in a team is so important. So throughout these years, we really own up to our own mistakes and then talk to our teams, open communication, transparency, and then we really build trust and hold on the responsibility, and we managed to do the change leader role.
So I guess what was happening in the family business which suddenly made you guys take over?
It was talking to our dad. Dad was saying that he's going to retire soon. And he's asked, okay, so what will happen to our brand if he retires? And then he said, oh, maybe we'll sell it to someone else. And that's what got us thinking. It's like this is a brand that everyone got there's like some kind of sentimental to it, and then there's a history of Hong Kong as well. So we feel that we have the responsibility and we want to carry this legacy forward.
So did you have any arguments with your father about taking over the business?
Taking over, no, we don't have any arguments on that, but I think it's more on the day-to-day differences in views. I think we have different, points and things, but the good thing about us is that we do argue, but we are okay. We respect each other. Yeah.
So I guess how do you manage all these individuals who were have been with the company for 30 years, right?
Yeah, we actually just had a ceremony. We had a 30 years colleague, 20 years, 10 years. I think it's growing up with them. They actually know us and really communicate and tell them what we want to do, what our vision is. And I think that helped us, and they were really willing to help us through.
So I guess coming to the changing faces of commerce part of this, how do you transform your bricks and mortars business to a more digital one?
So bricks and mortar is still our core business. I would say e-commerce, it's a must that we have to go for it because we really want to take our brand from local to global. And then so we try to, 3 years ago, we opened our e-commerce. There are different things that we have to solve, but I think since 3 years ago, each year we are having growth, especially through this COVID period. We see there are more potential, not even in local business, but also serving the global side of business as well. So the customers that are in the States, they can't come back to Hong Kong, they're actually buying from us.
Yeah, so what were some of the pain points of this process?
I think it's the internal system that is really painful because it's a traditional business. If you want to link all the system together, it's a lot of investment. And then I think it's the process change as well. I think that is a big challenge because e-commerce is a new thing. My colleagues have to really think through, and then we have to discuss and have a balance point. Yes.
And so I heard Jumpstart actually introduce Joe to you guys. And what do you do for them?
Well, basically, just like in the little background about our company, it's this project in particular with Chicks is probably one of our most interesting projects because it actually combines two different worlds. Because with Jen and her team, it's really, you feel the startup energy or the startup mentality. You want to make a change, make different, innovate, and do all of that stuff. But at the same time, you're facing a traditional business, as in the introduction, with 4 generations of history and background, and then fighting into establishing a Hong Kong brand and a global landscape, which I think, generally speaking, there are very few brands that I think have really, truly could say dominated or really a success case. And I think this is one of the brands with 4 generations of history there, and given general migration of people around the world, especially Asian people, Chinese people, Hong Kong people, etc. They know the brand. And part of the stories I've learned about is that even my friends in the US or in Canada or in Australia, wherever, they actually make their annual pilgrimages back to Hong Kong, stock up for the whole year, and then, bring it back for their friends, family, etc. But now with e-commerce and the ability to do all this is where hopefully we're really trying to find solutions that can fit sort of a traditional business, but really address the challenges and the innovation aspects of it in a new sort of economy, in a new world economy, actually.
So Jen, can you talk about more specifically the pain points you were having with your warehouse and your stores?
Yes, definitely. Actually, inventory is one of our biggest challenge. We have about 50 point of sales, and then e-commerce is part of it. And then we have a virtual warehouse for e-com. So you can imagine, like when the warehouse doesn't have any stock, it says no stock. But in actual fact, in the brick and mortar, we have maybe 50 or 100 pieces. So this is really our difficulty. Like we cannot sell, but actually we have stock. So this is when goals comes in, where hopefully we're working on a system where we can look into our warehouse plus for real-time shop inventory as well. So this helps us to not having to lose our sales from the e-com and serve like more products for the customers.
So was COVID actually very good for your business then?
No, because actually it's quite difficult due to the retail brick and mortar. But I have to say, e-com really grew through COVID. Yeah, that was quite a big surprise for us, and we're happy to see that change, and then our team see that, and then we can move towards the same goal.
For your business, Joe, e-com must have been very good.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in terms of volumes and demand, clearly there was a explosion, especially in Hong Kong, which generally has, in my mind, been a laggard a bit in the e-commerce, just I think more because of geographical just nuance of Hong Kong being convenient. But the problem that from a logistics side we face is that, as everyone knows, travel, air flights, everything has been completely halted, which is a main source of capacity to ship things all around the world. So in one sense, yes, the demand has increased, but the challenges faced by the logistics industry is even exacerbated by this issue.
Okay. So, but looking forward for Hong Kong, how can these established companies, a lot of these big brands, well-known, well-loved brands in Hong Kong, how can they go digital, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a stab at that first. I think one of the things is that everyone knows, you talk to any corporate, any company, even any startup, everyone knows it's digital. You have to get online, you have to do digital marketing, et cetera, all this stuff. But the problem, I think, is that there's a black box there. The keywords everyone knows, the jargon everyone knows, but how do you actually turn that jargon into reality? And then more so, how do you execute on that strategy? And we were just actually discussing, even before we came on this panel, we were talking about how for a lot of the things, again, the solution may be also create a website, create an app, do all these things, but the capital involved and whether or not, especially for traditional businesses who have relied on brick and mortar and traditional channels, how can they invest that lump sum into it? And this is sort of even part of how we derive solutions in that. How do we do the low capital in, give you the ability to sort of ramp up and sort of build up as you go there?
So Jen, what advice do you have for these other retailers?
I think it's really just start, and then everything will just change all along, and then you'll find differences and then things that you have to solve. So just start, I would just say.
So have the courage and just go for it.
Have the
Jumpstart,
courage,
right?
just
Jumpstart.
Jumpstart.
Start me up. There you go. What a plug.
Yeah, just start. Don't be scared. Really, just try. Yeah.
All right. So on that point, I think thank you both very much for spending time with me. Good luck
Thank you.
in e-commerce in this COVID world. So thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zela. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, Joe, for being with us today. And very insightful once again, especially for our audiences who wants to know more about, e-commerce, or even who is in e-commerce and who wants to know a bit more about, what it is like for other people and even the established brands out there.